Assalamu alaikum. Although I look like Egyptian, but I'm not Egyptian. I'm basically from India. I lived in Middle East for almost 4 years. Everywhere I go, people think that I'm Egyptian. So if you think that I'm Egyptian, that's not true, you know. So I will talk about next generation SOCs. So my current role, I'm working for a company called EY, and I'm running a digital security operations center. And I will talk about what we are doing in our center and how it's relevant to if you're running a SOC or if you're planning to build a SOC, what are the technologies, processes, and the people skill you need to actually build a next generation security operations center. I will start with a video. It will basically put a context around why do you need next generation technologies and next generation intelligence to build your SOC.
For years, the idea of a computer virus causing a real-world disaster was relegated to the works of science fiction. But in 2010, that changed. That was when a group of cybersecurity professionals discovered Stuxnet. Stuxnet was a malware worm that attacked Iran's nuclear program. It was the first cyber weapon that could destroy a real-world target. Stuxnet manipulated system software so that human operators thought everything was running fine, while it destroyed uranium enrichment centrifuges. Most shocking of all, Stuxnet was reportedly created by two nation-states, the US and Israel, to attack Iran during a time of peace. We now live in the era of a new arms race, where a malicious piece of code can threaten an untold number of human lives. So what would a widespread cyber attack look like on our own soil? Unfortunately, we have already seen the first hints. In February 2016, the computer network at Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center in Los Angeles was hacked, preventing the staff from using many devices at the hospital, even in the ER. The facility was so compromised it had to send patients to other hospitals for care. What if that was not an option? There are more than 300 ERs and urgent care centers in California. If they were all attacked at once, roughly 30,000 patients a day would be put into jeopardy in that state alone. We have seen even bigger impacts in foreign countries. In 2015, a cyber attack in Ukraine cut power to more than 200,000 residents for several hours. Imagine if a major US region was left without power, not for several hours, but for several days, turning off everything from water filtration systems to aviation safety software. Such a large-scale power outage would severely cripple law enforcement, banking, and numerous other critical and life-saving services. Malware implants can attack computer systems in the simplest of ways. Servers can be forced to record unnecessary data over and over again. This causes all free memory on a server to be used up at an accelerated rate, ultimately leading to a system crash. Military and civilian networks could be brought down this way. In fact, Stuxnet's successor was reportedly designed to accomplish exactly that. Nitro Zeus, a cyber weapon developed by the Defense Department, was created to wreak havoc on an entire country's infrastructure. This weapon could shut down communication systems, power grids, and air defenses, all without the use of bombs or bullets. As with the nuclear arms race, cyber warfare's potential threat to human lives is immense. Despite this, malware as warfare remains a highly secretive practice. There has been very little dialogue or international diplomacy aimed at governing the use of cyber weapons. During the Stuxnet attack, the virus escaped and infected computers worldwide, leaving the blueprint for creating Stuxnet-like cyber weapons available to anyone, anywhere, anytime.
So you saw that Stuxnet was, So Stuxnet was actually 2010. The whole cyberspace, was changed. When Stuxnet was made, it was the first OT-based attack. And after that, we have seen many versions of Stuxnet. So Shamoon, which is another version, which actually was created, it's said that it's created by Iran. It has already had 3 versions, yeah? And the last attack, which was actually used on OT system, was a Triton. And this Triton was very, very dangerous attack because the intent of the attack was to kill human. Okay, so this was no more about just deleting your computer system data or reformatting your hard disks. The Triton attack was on what we call the security system. So in all the operation technologies, if you're working in oil fields or electric grids and stuff like that, you have a security system. So if anything goes wrong in an oil field or a rig, this system brings down the network so that nothing, you don't blast actually the oil field. So the Triton attack was actually written to overtake the security environment of the OT, which is very, very dangerous. Yeah. So that's where we are moving. Now this conference is about digital nation, right? So we're talking about digitalization. So far we only spoke about IT and OT, and now we are talking about IoT, smart cities, smart homes. So that's where the IoT will come in. And there's predicted that by next year, there will be 8.6 billion IoT devices, which will be connected already. Yeah. So with the digitalization, what's happening is the technology adaptation is happening very fast. Yeah. And with this, IT, OT, and IoT convergence is happening. So it's not like IT is different from OT or from IoT. There were times when operational technologies was not connected to IT. They were like isolated totally, but for efficiencies and running the business efficiently, you have to connect them. Similar thing is with IoT. IoT you cannot manage unless you connect it to an IT system at some point. Yeah, so that convergence is happening. With that convergence, there is no network boundaries. Yeah, I take a good example of banking. 15 years back, banking was you have to go to the bank to do banking. Yeah, then came internet banking, then came mobile banking. Right now we're talking about digital banking. So it means the network of banks network is extended. Before it was a branch, then it was only the internet presence. Yeah, the website. Now every mobile is a bank. You can actually do the whole transaction even ever going to the bank. So what happens with technology innovation and digitalization is your attack surface also increases. So before, if you have to attack a bank, you have to actually attack a physical bank. But now today you can attack through internet banking, through mobile banking, through digital banking, you can attack the bank. So it means with digitalization, if you're doing more and more connections, you are increasing your attack surface. Yeah. Another thing with it's not only the business who is using digital. Attackers are also using digital. Yeah. So I don't know how many of you have heard about Mirai botnet. Mirai. Anybody heard about Mirai? So Mirai, botnet. How many people know about botnet? So botnet is basically a collection of computers which can be used to do denial of service attacks against anybody. So that's botnet. Yeah. Traditionally, botnet used to be computers, like your laptop, your desktops. Somebody will hack them, and when they want to attack somebody, they will use them to actually send data from your laptop to that particular destination. That was traditional botnet. Mirai was the first IoT botnet. So it was using IoT devices like cameras, DVR systems, televisions, anything which has IoT was used. And the biggest attack of Mirai was on Dyn DNS. So Dyn DNS is one of the largest DNS service provider in US and Europe. Okay, so Mirai was the first botnet where it used IoT. So the attacker, they didn't use computer. They used IoT to attack Dyn DNS. And the scale of the attack, the internet in US was down for almost 7 hours. They had 3 different attacks. So they had one at 7 o'clock, then they had one at 11 o'clock, then they had one at 7 p.m. again. And 1,200 websites, including PayPal, Netflix, all were down for 7 hours. There was no attack on those companies. It was the attack on the DNS service provider. Yeah, they have used 100,000 IoT devices to do that attack. So my point is that the attackers are using technology already. Yeah. So in a digital world, if you want to reduce or manage your risk, you have to do different things. First of all, ecosystem visibility. You cannot protect, you cannot detect if you're not looking into that particular area. Okay? Today, if you look at SOCs, they are looking at IT systems only. They're not looking at IoT, they're not looking at OT. So if you're not detecting or looking at certain area, you will not be able to detect any attack on those areas. Yeah? So ecosystem visibility. You have to talk about digital risk. It's not about IT or information security risk anymore. It has to be digital risk. So if you are putting up any digital technology, whether it's a blockchain or you're talking about IoT, you have to think about risk in those device and technology perspective. Yeah. So you cannot isolate just information security and IT risk. You need to understand the threat environment. So before you engage into blockchain or any other environment, because blockchain also will introduce certain sort of digital risk in your environment. So you have to think about what are the risks, what are the countermeasures, what are your preventive and detective controls, whichever digital technology you're going to go in. Threat intelligence is also very important. So today I'm going to talk about what threat intelligence looks like in a next generation SOC. Yeah. You need to also have 24/7 monitoring. Yeah. 9 to 5 monitoring or no monitoring doesn't work anymore. Yeah. So a good example, if you have heard about this Bangladesh bank attack on their central bank, there was an attack in Bangladesh around 3 years back. The attacker was in the environment for more than 6 months. Okay, and they have used the SWIFT system to transfer $81 million. The plan was to transfer $900 million. Okay, but they tried 250 transactions. Only 8 of them went through, but they still lost $81 million. Now look at Bangladesh as an economy. If they lose $1 billion, you can imagine what could happen to that country. Yeah. What was happening? They were not doing any monitoring. For 6 months, they didn't even know the attacker is in the environment. And the attacker was so smart, he didn't even do a UAT on the attack before he actually did the attack. So he had all the time. So monitoring is very important. Monitoring of IT, OT, and IoT. As I mentioned before, if you're going digital, you have to look into those digital assets, and you need to monitor them as part of your security operations. Resilience, so my colleague Salam, she talked about that, so it's very important as well. And then also, it's a behavioral change. So if you think that currently you are in an IT environment, you want to go digital, you have to have that behavior change in your company, in your environment. People have to think about digital risk. Now, if you look at traditional SOC, so what are the challenges in traditional SOC? So the first one is most of the SOCs are based on preventive. The mindset is preventive. So they will put firewall, they put IDS, IPS. So it's all very preventive. They don't look at detective and continuous detection. So when I'm talking about continuous detection, it's not one time. It's not what your SIEM is doing. You have to do more than what your SIEM is doing. Yeah. Incident response is seen as an exception-based process. What does that mean is you have an incident. Once the incident happens, then only you will do something about it. You will not look for if something is already happening. Yeah? If your SIEM, for example, SIEM tool you're using is not giving you alert, you don't do anything. Yeah? So it's very, very reactive process again. Threat intelligence is a one-way consumption product. What it means is lots of SIEM now, if you have a particular vendor, IBM or Logarithm, any SIEM you have, they give you threat intelligence, one way. They come in, it goes to SIEM, and then some rule will run. But you don't use it as a continuous product. You have to use it as a continuous product, not one way. Yeah. Most of the SIEM solutions, if you see, if you don't have skill set in your people or somebody is helping you, by default, you only enable default rules. Whatever comes with the technology, you just enable that. Yeah. You will never update those changes. So this is what I'm saying is happening in traditional SOC. So everybody who's running a SOC, the first question you need to ask, how many custom rules do you build a month or in 3 months? If the answer is, I don't know, then you have to be very, very careful, right? Because the rules has to be driven from threat intelligence, and I'll talk about how it should work in a SOC. I mentioned about reactive model, so it's once something happen, then we act. We don't look for things which are already happening, which we don't know. So in a next generation SOC, you have to look for things before they happen, not once they happen. Another challenge we have is limited number of resources, and I don't understand Arabic that much, but when the panel was going on, they were talking about skill shortage. Finding about skilled cybersecurity people. It's a big challenge. There's a 3.5 million shortage globally for cybersecurity professional. When I say cybersecurity professional, I mean experienced one. not somebody moving from networking to cybersecurity. I will not call them skilled cybersecurity professionals as of today. Maybe after 5 years, they may be skilled, but not today. Yeah. Another thing is the traditional SOC is still stuck into SIEM mode. So SIEM is a security information event management tool. So this tool is basically, if you go to any SOC, they are using one of these tools. What this tool does is it brings all the logs to one location, and then you write some sort of rules, and then it will give you alert. So the traditional SOC is still stuck in that mindset. The incident response needs to be integrated. It's not only cybersecurity problem. If incident happens, you have to have your business people. You have to have your network operation center people. You have to have your IT people. Everybody needs to be there. Alone security cannot manage incidents. Okay, so that's in traditional SOC. That also is the integration is not there. Lack of threat hunting. So threat hunting is a process where we look for things which are already happened or may be happening, which any of our technology cannot detect. So that's a process. So it's not happening currently in an automated response. So I will talk about that as well. So there's not much automation. Everything is manual. It means when you do things manual, you need more people to do things. So these are some of the challenges. So if you look at modern attacks, so what is happening? Like, first of all, mean time to detect. It means when an attack happen and when you detect, what is the timeline? So on an average is 265 days globally. So it means if you get attacked today, you will identify that attack after almost 1 year. I would say more than 8 months. Yeah. So all the cybersecurity attacks which happen, if you see any APT, advanced persistent threat, you pick it up, you will not see anyone which has detected within days. Yeah, or within weeks or within months. It's basically more than 6 months, 8 months, 10 months away. Yeah, and many times somebody else will tell you are hacked. You will not even know. So there's a company a big store called Target in US. They had a cybersecurity attack. Somebody compromised their POS, point of sale system. You know, when you go swap your credit card, that network got compromised. They didn't even know that they are attacked. FBI told them that we are seeing some data going out from your network to somewhere in Eastern Europe. Then they wake up and then they found out that they've been attacked 8 months back. Yeah. So what's happening with that is first is there are signs, but traditional SOC, they ignore the signs of something happening. Yeah. Second thing is, in traditional SOC, how many people are running SOC or have any sort of SIM solution? Maybe raise your hands. No? So in SIEM solution, usually when you implement a SIEM solution, in a day, you get hundreds of alerts. Okay? If it's not tuned properly, you may get 1,000 to 2,000 alerts a day. Now tell me how many people can analyze, if you have even 3 people looking at the console, they cannot analyze 3,000 alerts in a day or 2,000 alerts in a day. It's not possible. So the attacks are getting lost within other information. And most of the advanced attacks, when they happen, they never will be critical or high, what your SIM is showing. It will be medium or low. Which most of the people, they don't look at medium and low alerts in SIM. Yeah. So the another one is the use cases. I spoke about use cases which is in SIM. Usually, if you're using default one, they will never be able to detect any advanced attack, for sure. It's guaranteed. Yeah. And then another challenge is, what if the attack happening in certain network and your SIM is not even collecting that data? If you're not collecting the data, you will never be able to detect, right? If I don't have a security camera in this room, if some security breach happen, I will never see. So you need to collect data from this room first to see if something will happen here. Yeah. Now the next video actually, it's visualized what's happening with the traditional technologies like SIM and other technologies we have, and how the attack actually is happening. So just pay attention to this clip. Yeah. So you see this gate is your traditional security control. And this car is advanced threat. That's, as I mentioned, in SIM, If you have an APT, it will never trigger as high or critical. 99.9% it will not. It means it will not highlight in your technology. It will go what we call low and slow. Okay? So this is what is happening today in advanced attacks and cyber technology. This is what is going on. Now, what do we mean by next gen? When we say next gen, what does next gen means, right? So there are basically 3 parameters at a high level, and other people may have different definition, but if you look at next gen SOC, you have to look at these 3 maturity models, okay? First is monitoring. So SIEM, for example, is a monitoring tool. So if currently signature based, that's what SIEM is. Little bit of behavior and pattern we can do with SIEM today, but if you really want to be a next gen, you need to do anomaly based detection. Anomaly means what is not normal, okay? That's what next gen. So from monitoring perspective, if you want to be next gen SOC, you have to do threat hunting and anomaly based detection, both on entity and user, okay? When we say entity, we mean network and endpoints, and user means the people who are using the network. So from security monitoring, pretty much that's next gen, okay? Most of the companies are here, okay? Very few companies are here. Now from incident response perspective, what does next gen mean, okay? So here, if you don't have any process for your incident response, you are basically very immature. But most of the companies are here. So we have like a process document. If incident happen, is a high incident, this is the procedure I will follow, this is how I will do it. But in advanced next gen SOC, your response needs to be automated, okay? So that the system can take a decision based on the type of attack. It means no human required, okay? So it means you can save on number of people you need to hire. If you automate it, you need to, but I will talk about that, how you automate and what you need to do and what you should not do, okay? Then the threat intelligence. So threat intelligence perspective, the next gen means, so basically open source intelligence, which you can get from Ernst. Then you have SIM vendors, so IBM, Logarithm, they give you some sort of intelligence. Then you have industry-based intelligence. So if you're in financial services industry, there are lots of industry-based intelligence sharing. So if some, within Egypt, for example, if you want to build ISAC, you can build, like all the banks, if one bank get attacked, they will tell other banks what's happening. But if you want to be really next gen, you need to look at public and private threat intelligence. And I'll talk about private threat intelligence more. Public, many people are using, but private, we are not using much, yeah? So pretty much, if you're doing this is your maturity model. You can tell whether you are next gen, or you're traditional, or you are even below traditional. So basically, looking at this graph, you can do a very quick assessment on your SOC or your SOC service provider who is providing service to you. Now, these two, I will not go into detail. Usually this is what is happening. So these are the services, these are the capabilities in a traditional SOC. But if you want to go to next gen SOC, these are the things which you need to do, okay? First, on the capability side, cyber analytics and threat hunting. That capability you need to have. Private threat intelligence and automated response. So these are the capabilities. How you achieve this? So there are technologies, okay? But technology itself is not enough, okay? So there's a say that if you give a tool to a fool, he will always remain fool and the tool will also become fool, okay? So technology is not enough. You need to have skilled people. You need to have processes and procedures how to actually use that tool properly, okay? I can tell you from my experience, I come from Oman. I've been in Oman for 2 years. I have met so many customers, they have SIM. You go and ask them, what is this doing? They have installed it on one server, nobody's using it. It's a beautiful tool. You can use it, but they don't have capability. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to maintain it. So technology-wise, you need analytics on network, endpoint, and user. So 3, yeah? There's also endpoint. You have some sort of solution called EDR, endpoint detection and response. So Carbon Black, CrowdStrike, these are some of the tools which you can use. You need to have threat intelligence. You need to have data lake. What data lake means? Big data platform, some sort of big data platform, where you can bring everything from a security perspective. And then you can ask the right question, or you can run a cyber analytics or artificial intelligence models on that data. So what it means is, you need to collect a lot of data if you really want to do it right. Okay? What happens if you're going to SIM implementation, you have a budget. So your budget is $100,000. Your network is 10,000 machines. And then you say, okay, I can only monitor 5,000 because that's my budget. That is not going to give you security. You will have blind spots in the network. Yeah? So data lake. And then you need to automate whatever you can automate within your SOC. Okay? Automation reduce the burden on manpower. Then your people you have, the smart people, they can work on something else instead of working on the same routine things. So what will be the outcome? So outcome you get is, you will be able to detect unknown and advanced attacks if you have next-gen SOC. You will be able to analyze and detect abnormal behaviors, and we'll talk about abnormal behaviors shortly. You will be also able to identify insider threat. Okay? The attack not always comes from outside. Okay? Most of the advanced persistent threat happens, your perimeter technologies 99.9% of time cannot protect you. Otherwise, APT will never happen. If your firewall or IDS can block it, why will you have any advanced attack? We will never have, right? And all the companies who had advanced attack, it doesn't mean that they didn't have security. They had advanced firewalls, they had advanced IPS, IDS, everything. But still they get compromised. Yeah? And you will get faster and consistent response. So it's very important. So if you have a phishing email, there is a consistent way to deal with phishing. You don't have to do it every day the same thing. You can give it to the machine, let machine handle it. Okay? And you will also reduce your manpower if you implement this correctly. Now, if you look at security operation centers, this concept started late 1990s. Yeah? Around 98, 99, the concept of security operations started. So that's what we called Wave 1 SOC. What was Wave 1 SOC that time? There was no SIM solution. So if you want to monitor a bunch of firewalls, IDS, any security device, you go and monitor them individually. So I go and look at this firewall log, this IDS log, that was Wave 1. But there was a challenge with Wave 1. If you have, here I don't know how big the networks are, but I have worked for one company in US. They had 150 firewalls. Okay, it was one of the third largest bank in US. 150 firewalls. You cannot go and monitor each and every firewall individually, right? So there was a challenge in Wave 1. That challenge was resolved by Wave 2 when SIM tool was introduced. Yeah, in SIM you bring all the data to single location, and then you write a rule, and then the rule will tell you if there's an attack, it will trigger that. Now you have to also understand in this Wave 2 there are challenges. To run any SIM solution, you need three things, very, very important. First, you need to collect data from all the points. If you don't collect data, your rule will not even detect anything on those data points. Second, you need to have what we call indicator of compromise, IOCs, indicator of compromise, which is the characteristic of attack. So if an attack happens, it may be the bad IP address of attacker, right? It could be a virus file. So this is what we call IOCs, right? And the third thing you need is write those IOCs as a rule, okay? So if you need all those three things to run a SIM. But what if it's a zero-day attack? I gave you example of zero-day initially. Nobody knows what the attack look like. SIM will never be able to identify that. So that's where analytics come into picture. 2 minutes? Give me 5. Okay. So anyways, I will just go quickly. I think I only got 20 minutes to speak, not even 25. So anyways, so basically what does analytics does is it collects data from the entire network. Okay? So it uses the network data. And then it will write rules of what is normal. Okay? And then it will tell you what is not normal. For example, in this room, again, if we take data from this room setup is right now normal. right? Our cameraman is sitting there. Suddenly he moves from there to the end of the room. That's not normal. So analytics, with the power of analytics, they can predict that this is not normal. In any analytics tool, when you get an alert, it doesn't mean it's an attack. It just tells you that this is not normal. Go and investigate. That's where you need your SOC, your people and processes to investigate. Yeah. So I don't have much time. Otherwise, I would have gone into how actually it works. So this is network-based anomaly, okay, where you collect network data, and then you look for abnormal behavior within the network. Okay. The second one is user anomaly, where you collect your logs from your Active Directory or LDAP servers, and you look at users' behavior. For example, Sunil logs from this machine every day between 9 to 6. Now suddenly Sunil logging in from another machine between 9 to 6, or logging at 2 a.m. from his machine. That's not that's abnormal. So that is what is called user behavior abnormality. Yeah. So I think we will share the slides with them, right? Okay. So all the slides will be with you. Now quickly I will go to so technology. We talk about technology, right? Monitoring technology. You need to have analytics. That's first. Second, you need to have threat hunting. Threat hunting. They have just give me another 3 minutes. Yeah. I'll quickly finish. Threat hunting is the process of looking for things which any of your technology you have did not detect. Okay, your firewalls, IDS, even analytics didn't detect, for example, right? You need to do threat hunting. And threat hunting, what you will find out, if you find out an attack, you have to do investigation of why I didn't detect this thing. So it's a closed loop investigation. It's not single. Okay? Today, if I find out that this attack came in and I didn't detect it, then you have to go investigate why. And then it will enhance your detection and prevention technologies. Okay? So there are different techniques of threat hunting, but basically it's either an indicator based or behavior based. Okay? But threat hunting must happen, because without threat hunting, your SOC will not improve. If you're not doing threat hunting, you will be where you are today. After 1 year, you will be the same position. Okay, so you can do network-based threat hunting, host-based, or campaign-based. Next one is threat intelligence. Okay, so these are some of the services which we are doing, but I will talk about private threat intelligence, because currently, if you see, you get commercial threat intelligence from, Record Future, Anomaly, all they give you. But this is the world-based threat. It's not specific to you. In private threat intelligence, you install honeypots in your environment. Okay, you install a specific honeypot for your DNS, for your web services. If somebody is trying to attack those honeypots, it means that intelligence is only specific to you, because that person is attacking you. If you have a honeypot in your environment, and if you see a hit on the environment, it means you're already compromised. The attacker is already in the environment. And it's not public, it's private. Okay? So this is what is not happening today in the traditional SOC. And then the last one is automated response. Okay, so basically what automated response is, for example, I gave example of phishing. When phishing attack happen, there is certain specific steps which a SOC analyst take. You can automate those steps. So next time the phishing happen, SIEM will detect it. It will automatically take the response. So you don't have to basically do anything. Okay, so you need to do automated response. In summary, if you want to build a next generation SOC, first of all, you need to do a gap analysis of your current SOC capabilities. I have highlighted capabilities, underline it, because what capability means is not only technology. Okay? It's people, process, technology. When you're doing a SOC assessment, you have to assess 3 things. Okay? Just don't see, okay, I move from SIM to analytics, I will be more secure. No, your SOC will still be traditional SOC. Okay? Identify your SOC capabilities against emerging and advanced threats. Use analytics and artificial intelligence, okay? Because it will give you a lot of edge over just SIM products. Perform threat hunting is very, very important. If you're not doing it, if a SOC provider is not doing it, they're missing something big. Okay? Use commercial, public, and private threat intelligence. Okay, so you need to have private threat intelligence included. If you want to have a next-gen SOC, you must have. And the last thing is automate incident response. Okay, Automation can be done with simple scripting as well. So you don't have to buy like a $100,000, $200,000 tool. Okay? Automation means you just script, you can write simple scripts. Lots of SIM solution now coming up with this automated, so if you look at logarithm, they call it smart response. So, but you have to do it, okay? So that's it from my side. I didn't get even my 25 minutes. Yeah. Okay, thank you.